Hello and welcome to Gaia Blooming GPS for the week of May 9th. This is where we come and pull cards for the Astro shifts for the week ahead. I am Mimi and I'm here with Nicole Oman.
Hello.
We're going to dive in with Jupiter direct. Woo! Jupiter has been retrograde since January and it went direct just today in the sign of Virgo. Virgo bringing us into our physical reality, what goes on in our everyday lives and how we interpret it. I always take it back to the body because this is where the magic happens. As I've been calling it, this is your virtual reality, your body, your virtual reality brush. And so with Jupiter direct, anything that you've learned over these last few months with it retrograde about your body, about yourself, about your feelings is, it's time to move forward with this energy. And I'm going to begin with this card, Beyond Illusion. It's time to get beyond the illusions of your mind. Oh, Nicole has it too. Beyond the illusions of the mind. Virgo can bring in Mercury energy, but like I've been reiterating, there is so much information in your body. You've got to get past thinking that this up here knows everything and really get into the energy of your physical body. And I really I'm pulling again Wisdom of the Oracle and Goddess Guidance because I really like the combination of these cards. The Wisdom of the Oracle card is the Loyal Heart card. And I pulled this last week and it's saying, feel into your heart. Jupiter energy is expansive. It wants to bring us joy. It wants to bring us happiness. It wants to bring us more knowledge and infinite possibilities. And part of how you're really going to engage in that is feeling in and through your heart. Is this a yes? Is this a yum? Is this honoring me? Is this honoring my path? Is this honoring my expansion? And your heart will always tell you and help you feel through. So this card, Loyal Heart, be loyal to your heart. Check in with your heart. Check in with that feelings. I've been really working just this past week on just expanding and recognizing when my heart is opening to something and when it's closing to something. And when it's kind of closing, I have to notice, is this because my mind is playing some games or is this because this is a no to me? So getting beyond the illusion of that. Besides that, I also pulled the card Inner Voice. And I take this Inner Voice card, again, as like the inner voice of your physical body. There's so much talk in meditation and spirituality of meditating and coming up and out and focusing on the light outside of yourself. But Jupiter direct in Virgo, or Jupiter just even in Virgo, saying, yeah, but come on in and dive on in and get on in there and see what it's saying in there. And let that path be your guidance. Let that inner energy be what guides you. And finally, from the goddesses, I pulled Aphrodite, inner goddess. Awaken the goddess within you. Get into your physical body. Look at this snake. The snake is all where it's at. Through dance, self-care, appreciating your divinity. Get in there. Know who you are. And I want to mention, it's really interesting because Jupiter is actually connecting with Venus in Taurus tomorrow, which is really helping get into our worth energy. And so I think this card, Aphrodite and Loyal Heart, actually too, are both speaking of you're worthy of honoring yourself the way Aphrodite honors herself, honoring yourself the way a goddess honors herself. Nicole?
Well, for this, I'm getting this to be a reading until autumn when, so I have the autumn card from the fairies. I'm pulling some fairy cards. So Jupiter gets out of Virgo, I want to say September 9th. It's 2 days before my birthday. So this is a transit, and this is what's going to go on for you until September. And so take what Mimi said and also pull that out all the way to September, not just this week. And this is what I'm getting for mine. I'm getting that you are going to get out of your comfort zone in a whole different way. There's some suppression, that there's going to be some blocks, and I have the Beyond Illusion. So I feel like there's going to be some blocks that you're going to come up against for the next few months, but the blocks are not here to hurt you. The blocks are here because they're threshold guardians. I feel like there is a new career prospect that is coming up for a lot of us and coming up for you. in the next few months. Your work is shifting in a positive and new and successful direction. But with that, the universe is going to test you in a way of, are you ready? So they're going to put little blocks that used to feel very suppressive to you to make sure that you are strong enough now to break through those barriers and really become the person you need to be to have this career that you've been really dreaming about. Before, you were willing to cling to the past and all these old stories of why you couldn't expand in this way. But now those old stories are falling away. You're seeing through your own crap and your own bullcrap stories that you had that kept you from really manifesting what you've been desiring. And it's really time to share who you are with the world and have courage to do so. I also feel like there might be old friendships or old partnerships or old relationships that might be your threshold guardian. So they might come up as people. Push through them and you will see in the fall when Jupiter starts coming into Libra that you might be ready for that new career path for yourself. This is just going to be a bit of a time. I mean, Virgo is such that, right? Virgo is a tester. Look, I know that. I'm a Virgo. And so you have to go through some tests. Don't be scared of them. You're ready. Just have the courage and strength to do it. You're stronger than you think you are. You'll be able to do it. Go for what you want. And it will flourish. It will, look at this rainbow. It's like, yeah, it'll flourish. Just keep working. Keep going. Don't let stupid things, excuses get in your way. Push through them. Push back. Push past the resistance.
Nice. Follow your heart. It's interesting. I feel like my cards for Moon and Cancer is kind of echoing some of this energy that you just talked about. So Moon shifted into Cancer early this morning. Moon and Cancer brings us up into our emotions. And, you know, I'm going to start with these. So I pulled the stress card. And definitely emotional stuff can bring us to stress. And I was like, well, what's this related to? And I pulled letting go in past lives. And so what Nicole was just saying, there may be some of these people in your life who are part of these threshold guardians from what you want, because I also pulled Leap of Faith and the traveling card. So this may be part of the process. What are you still holding on to emotionally with some people from your past? Whether it's past life versions of them. I did that with my ex-boyfriend. I held on to his past life version. And he's like, well, this is who I am in this life. And I'm like, but you could be this. And he never was. So are you still holding on to those past life versions? Is it time to let go of that version of the past? That's a different, you know, different reality, different energy. It's time to take a leap of faith into the now. Jupiter and Virgo, right into the now. I pulled the traveling card. I actually pulled the traveling card in reverse. So part of this may be making some plans for the future, maybe some trips that are going to be taking, because once you can let go, I pulled New Vision and the Fool. You're on a new journey. It's like, this is like all of Nicole's cards. So you're on a new journey, but you've got to let go of that past stuff. What's weighing heavy on you? What feels like, I see the heart with like, what it was, like those grocery market scales. Oh, there's the burden. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, what's burdening you?
Yeah, the burden. But it's like, I see the grocery cart, not grocery cart, but the grocery store scales that you weigh the fruit in, like laden with this energy. And so it's time to start plucking those fruits out. Not all the fruits are meant for you. And part of that may be from my Wisdom of the Oracle card. I pulled the card Chop Wood. And this is a card of like getting to work, taking care of your stuff. And that's, you know, kind of the energy of Cancer is like getting into the house, doing your chores. This may be letting go, you know, doing some spring cleaning. Clean out your closets. Let go of some of the stuff that you don't need anymore. But this might be also chopping wood, pairing some of the trees of your friendships in your life, and trusting, you know, what's meant for you always comes back to you. So trust, you know, if it feels time to let it go. And then maybe they'll come back around in a different, better form. Nicole?
Yeah, I'm getting very similar, but the message that keeps coming through to me is be careful of being victim to other people. Where are you allowing yourself to be, these people keep doing this to me. Why do I keep getting the same friends that keep doing this to me? Now, if you listen to the wording of that, they're doing it to me. You're putting yourself in a powerless position. You have to see where you're putting projections on other people and take the mature route and take responsibility for the way you're showing up. Because for some reason, I have the creator card in reverse and the maturity card in reverse. There is a part of you that is creating these burdens and these projections that you have in your life. And it's a really good story that the ego does to make you stay small and safe. You don't need to do that anymore. That's a big thing you need to look at emotionally, is where can I strengthen myself, take responsibility for myself, and not let, this is the big message on this, not let what other people think about you or feel about you or their opinions or even their rumors and gossip stop you from being who you are. Express your individuality no matter how they feel about you. So what? They're just projecting what they judge about themselves onto you. It doesn't have to be personal, and you don't have to feel victim to it, or you don't have to feel the burden of trying to change yourself because you don't fit their mold. Honor yourself to go, we just had a bit of a conversation about this. Be honest. If their crazy doesn't match your crazy, that's okay. Go, honor yourself. We are all crazy. That's the truth. We all have our crazy moments. And if you're triggering that person, it's because you're just triggering something within them. But things might, you just might not be aligned with someone. You might be vibrating different. You might have a different archetypical process that's going on. And because you don't understand them and they don't understand you, you don't have to change yourself to fit what they think is good. Be yourself. Honor yourself. And if you're having an issue, they can't read your mind. Ask for what you need. Ask for what you want. Women want to think that, especially with men, but also with our friends, sometimes I found that we feel like people should read our minds. I'm psychic, but I still can't read people's minds. I can't read my friends' minds. They have to tell me if they have an issue. So if you're having an issue, be really clear on what that issue is and see if you can come to an understanding. If not, be mature enough to just let it go and let bygones be bygones and just agree to disagree and try not to take it too personal. And I think that this is also a strength that you'll need to have this career that you need. I got the new career card again because in business, sometimes it's business, not personal. And you have to just kind of go with that. It's a mature way of thinking about things and not just being so emotionally dramatic. And I have a lot of Kali energy, so I'm being very straightforward, straight shooting today. But it's like, if you're caught in this like, oh, woe is me, you're going to have to strengthen that. No more self-pity. Okay, I'm good.
Good. Well, it's interesting because we're moving into the moon in Leo on Wednesday, which tunes us into our creativity, the inner child, and as Nicole's saying, no more pity. I'm like looking at my card that I'm going to start with. It's a card where the character in there is feeling some pity. I pulled the orphan card. And this is one of the parts of the inner child, is that part that feels abandoned, the part that feels alone. But I agree, because I also pulled such interesting cards. I pulled Sorrow and Thunderbolt, so reversed. And then I pulled Existence and Rebirth. So, I actually have been doing this with all these retrograde planets. Although it's only 4 now, it's still 4 retrograde planets. It's still enough to dive in. I myself have been doing a lot of soul work, a lot of deep work in my lower chakras. And this card came up as one of my healing cards, really looking at my own abandonment issues within my inner child. And we carry those stories with us. And so I think these cards are saying, this is past trauma. It's no less valid you know, but it's time to stop letting it dictate, you know, the course of your life, the way you take your path. That is the past. Did you learn your lessons? And now can you move on? I've been also working with this, you know, am I opening or closing? And Leo moon energy is the sign of opening your heart and moving forward from that place and holding those places, you know, that you feel orphaned. One of the big lessons around that for me and for everybody else is it's never just about somebody abandoning you. There's also always that component of where have you abandoned yourself in that? And so this is where the existence comes forward. This is where the rebirth energy comes forward in this. You got to be willing to dig in, be present with yourself, and did I say be present with yourself? Because I was just going to say be present with yourself and be present with yourself, all parts of yourself. Be present with yourself and your inner child, that part of yourself that feels this way. It's not just like, oh, get over it. But I am one of those people that believes that a lot of times you've got to like move through it to be able to really get over it. So if this comes up with the moon in Leo, which is going to be squaring all that worth energy, you know, with the sun in Taurus and Venus in Taurus and Mercury retrograde in Taurus, all that energy is being squared. So you may have to go through it, but you're not alone. Athena, inner wisdom, you know what to do. Trust your inner wisdom. Take appropriate action without delay. So you know how to be there for yourself. You know, if you're an adult, you've reached this long, you know, taking care of yourself, you can be present for yourself. And that's the biggest thing, I think, personally, in moving through this stuff and moving through any past pain is that presence and that allowing, like, okay, I feel this way. It's okay to feel this way. What can I do for myself? And then show up and do it. Nicole?
Yeah, and you know, if you have the wounded child, which we all have a wounded child, if you're letting it run the show, you're probably not manifesting much because the wounded child likes to stay in temper tantrum. And when it does that, you might get things done, but then it's going to also self-sabotage. And so this is a really good time. This week, it feels like is a good time to grow that because you can't stay in the wounded child for the rest of your life. If you're not a child anymore and it's not physically happening anymore, it's okay to heal it. It's up to you. It's your responsibility to heal that orphan child. It's up to you to learn how to parent that orphan child right. Because maybe you weren't parented. This is the cards I'm getting. Maybe you weren't parented the way that you felt like you needed to be parented, especially with a male, especially your father figure. And because of that, you know, you could stay in that self-pity of that, or you could stay in the orphan child or the abandonment of that, but it's time to grow. I had a really hard childhood with my father figure, and I learned how to heal that and move forward through that. And if I can do it, I know that you can do it. And I come from the very deep place in my heart is I had a very strong victim, and I had a very strong orphan child, and I had a very strong wounded child. But I had to go in and do my inner work. And I'm not saying that from a high horse thing. I'm saying it from someone who's walked the path that you can get out of it. You can. And you can manifest good relationships, even though you had a crappy father. Because I have. And I still deal with abandonment issues, but I have to keep myself in check. And I can't go into pity with it. I can't go into tantrum because I know that I'm self-sabotaging and I can take responsibility for that. So that's where this is coming up. And what I'm also getting from this energy is there is some betrayal in either a father relationship or a past relationship that is having you feel like you're having some trust issues with it. And it's really a great time this week, especially that Leo energy, to look at that in a different way and not be so suppressed. I have the suppression card in reverse. It's almost like you're wiggling your way out of the chains of it. And it feels like you might be wrapped in this, but you can start loosening that up and getting off of it. And I have this immunity card, meaning you are safe and protected. So if this is coming up and you feel unsafe, because that's where abandonment issues get triggered, is when we feel unsafe. When my trigger is when my husband doesn't come home the time he's coming home, like if he's like a half an hour late and he doesn't call me, whoosh, my abandonment issues come up. But it doesn't mean I'm unsafe or that he's doing anything that he's not supposed to be doing. But because my dad would do that to me because he had a drug problem, I feel like something wrong is happening. But I know it's in me. I'm not actually in an unsafe scenario, even though maybe you should call me, but that's my own thing, right? But it's a trigger that's able to bring that up for me so I can work with it different. So if you're triggered this week, try to loosen the reins of the fear and know that you really are safe. And you can find your power in this. This is to strengthen you. It's not here, the trigger's not here to shove you back down. The orphan child needs to be parented. I'm okay, I am safe, I am okay, I am safe, I'm safe, I'm safe, it's not happening. I'm not being traumatized again. I have to get over this. And the only way to strengthen that abandonment issue is to literally work on it. Be your own spiritual let it be your spiritual workout. Let those muscles grow and strengthen. That's the only way you're not going to feel abandoned, is you got to trust yourself in another way. So allow this to be an opportunity, not something that you feel victim to. I keep getting this victim thing. Be careful of your victim. We all have the archetype of the victim. We all feel victimized. You can strengthen that and you can learn how to work with it and not be a servant to it, but allow it to be a servant to you. Because the victim does have some good things. I mean, there are times where we are a victim to a circumstance, but it's to strengthen our soul.
Absolutely, 100%. All right, so our next aspect that we have is Mercury, which is retrograde in Taurus, conjunct Venus in Taurus on Friday the 13th. So we've been talking about all this word stuff, and this is going to take us in even more. And I'm starting off with two of my Osho cards, Compromise Reverse and Comparison Reverse. Stop compromising yourself because you are comparing yourself to the rest of the world. When you're comparing yourself, you're not knowing your worth. You're not knowing who you are. And my Goddess Guidance card, the Bridget card, is don't back down. And look, there she is holding her heart, honoring the fieriness of her heart. So like it's taking it around right to where we started. If you're busy comparing yourself to somebody, if you're busy compromising yourself, you're not honoring yourself. You're not honoring your heart. You're not owning your worth. Mercury retrograde in Taurus is taking us in and through more so than like anything else right now. I mean, everything that's retrograde is taking us in, but it's really taking us into those foundations of our worth that we've put in. And Venus energy, Venus in Taurus, is trying to light it up and bring in that energy. I pulled an interesting card with this from the Wisdom of the Oracles. I pulled the All That Glitters card. All that glitters is not gold. And sometimes I think we try to prove our worth by going out and getting out our shiny credit card and being like, charge it. And this card is saying, don't be fooled by the shiny. We all love shiny. Shiny is wonderful. I'm wearing the shiny. But don't let the shiny think that that's who you are, or, you know, take place for really showing up for yourself. This is, you know, this is still feeding into that energy of working through some of that victim, like Nikki said, that abandoned child, the parts of you that you've put aside. So be really aware, you know, anytime Venus comes into play, and especially Venus playing with Jupiter this week as well, we're tempted to start shopping to fill in those holes. So don't be swayed by that. Instead, dive in, do that inner work, honor your heart. And besides that, I also pulled the Guidance card and the Adventure card. So look at it as that. Let that be your shiny. Let the adventure of diving in, knowing who you are, the adventure of like casting off the comparisons. I feel very dramatic right now. And listening, I don't know, the Guidance card, like, even though this is like angelic guidance, I really feel it as this inner guidance, like casting off that outside energy and really honoring who you are, what you have to say, what you know about yourself, recognizing, I don't know, the golden energy within you. Let that come forth with Mercury connecting to Venus, and just see where it takes you. Nicole?
And I see shiny. I also have an issue with shiny. I'm a Gemini rising, and I like shiny things. I don't necessarily like shiny things for whatever reason, but because this is Taurus, you might get into shiny things. I like shiny people. And so coming from my authenticity, be careful with shiny people. Because what happens is we sometimes think that people who are prettier than us, this comparison card, right? So the people are prettier than us or more interesting or more shiny or more vibrant than us or better than us. And we end up A, pedestaling, and B, giving our power away to these people who you should not be giving your people, giving your power away too, because these people come with these beautiful facades. Woo, look how beautiful I am. But you take those masks off and all of a sudden you're like, ooh, what the heck? What am I doing? So there might be maybe even a shiny man, but there might be a shiny person that makes you feel less shiny. And you don't want to share your opinion because you're putting their opinion better, making it better than yours, or they're overpowering you. This is a really good energy with this Venus Mercury to talk. Oh, that's good for me. Sorry, getting a little hint for myself. This is a really good energy to speak your worth to someone that you are giving your worth away to, and not allowing them to be shinier than you. This is like, don't hold back your jewels because you think their jewels are shinier than yours. Your jewels are just as beautiful as theirs. You can have the courage. I have this courage in reverse. If you're not sharing it, it's because you're holding yourself back. They're not holding you back. You think they're shinier or better than you. And that's just not true. Your medicine, your wisdom, your beauty is just as beautiful as theirs. Don't hold back because you made a story in your head that they are better than you. Go for it. If you want to ask that person who you think is a 10 and you think of yourself as a 6, who cares? Do it. And if they reject you, screw them. You are still beautiful. If somebody rejects you, don't let them take your power away. I know that's easier said than done, for real, but whatever. I also have the emotional healing card. As your heart heals of old emotional pain, you receive new blessings and love. This is a really good time. There's that Bridget card, that's the same thing. They're holding their heart, and it's like, look at the gem of her heart. Look how shiny it is. And as you become aware of your own emotional healing, what happens is when you're healing those scars and healing that pain of the past, your jewel becomes shinier, more vibrant. And that's what you're sharing to the world. And that's your beauty. Don't be stingy. Show your beauty. Be courageous enough to shine, because that's what you're meant to do. You're radiant. Don't hold back. Show people who you are. And that is the gift that you give. Be this emerald, because you already are. It's only you that's lying to yourself and saying that you're not. That's all.
That reminds me of is the Japanese art form, I'm probably going to mess up the word, I apologize in advance, kintsugi, which is where they take broken pottery and they fill it in with gold to put it back together. And so those broken parts, those parts that we often compare, those like broken parts, that's filled with gold. That's filled with your light. So it's so shiny. And that's just like one of my favorite things I keep returning to is kintsugi. So that's what that reminded me of.
I love it because it's like fortify your wounds with gold, and then you become even more valuable. Thank you very much.
You're like a superhuman at that point.
You're fortifying your wounds with gold, and how much strength does that have? It's like, okay, I have wounds, but I put that pottery back together with gold, and now I'm so valuable that I'm actually going to honor what I've been through. And that makes me even stronger than I was before. And if you come at it that way, your value's through the roof.
Absolutely. Beautiful. All right, so our final aspect of the week is the moon shifting into Friday. Or Mercury retrograde. I skipped I skipped the sign. It's shifting into Virgo on Friday. And I'm going to start with this card, Truth Be Told, because funny enough, Miss Virgo over there and I were talking about Virgos and wanting the truth. And this card is saying, be strong, ask for the truth. Ask and ye shall receive. I pulled the receive card. So this is card like saying, hey, Virgo is the card of reality. And I think a lot of times when we ask for the truth, chances are we already know the truth. With our virtual reality stick, with our bodies feel everything. But sometimes the mind is like, nope, I'm not going to face it. I don't want to have to look at it. We play control games with that, with our mind being like, I don't want to look at it. I don't want to see it. But this card is saying, hey, face the truth, receive the truth. Release any conditioning around, around whatever's coming up for you, wherever you need to look at this energy. You've got some transformation energy coming on. There's a little bit of shift coming for you. So just be willing to look at something. If you've been kind of ostriching something, this may be time to ask for the truth, or at least allow yourself to ask, what is the truth of this for me? What am I feeling about this? What is this truth? Because ultimately, it's leading to some kind of success for you. It's probably going to open into something that feels really good, but you've got to face something that you haven't been willing to face. And so, I mean, I think these cards are just super simple. Be willing to ask the truth, whether it's of somebody or it's even facing it within yourself. Let go of whatever, illusion of control that you have over this, not looking at it. An ostrich is like, I'm in control, my head is in the sand. Time to let that go and just receive the truth. And there's going to be some kind of breakthrough, some kind of release of conditioning in this for you that moves to your success. And it's also, like I said, the transformation card, Butterfly Maiden. You're experiencing enormous change right now, which brings great blessings, success. But you've got to look at it head on. Be brave. I want to see you be brave.
I want to see you be brave. Okay, so you have Butterfly Maiden. I have all these butterfly cards. Total. Okay, so honestly, I have the same thing, to be honest. And that's a message for me. I have to have a conversation on Friday. I know it's on Friday with Mercury and conjunct Venus and Taurus and Moon and Virgo and all this Earth energy. I'm like, yeah, I need to have that conversation on Friday. So there you go. Thanks. I got one too. So what I'm getting is, and what this is, it's a deep one. It's a past life one. Whatever you're having to do, whatever this truth is, it's old and deep, so it might feel a little dramatic and it might feel harder than you think it is. When you finally come clean and tell the truth, your truth to someone, they look at you like, okay. Was it that big of a, okay. It might be received more than you think it will be. And it's beyond the illusion. I have that card. I have the success. I have the comparison card. I have all these things. But more than anything, I have be yourself again and express your individuality. So it's, be true to you. Whatever the truth is, be true to that. Be yourself. The situation calls for you to be authentic, which is the basis of your personal power. So just lay it on the line. Be open, and if it's not received, okay, but I don't think that's what's going to happen. I also have one weird message, and I think it's for somebody specific. If you're trying to get pregnant, you might find someone else is like a friend of yours or your sister is pregnant, and it might feel, you might go into a little bit of a spin because you're having a hard time and someone else just got pregnant. Relax, relax, relax. You're stressing yourself out. That's why you're not getting pregnant. And don't get into the victim that, or the self-pity because you didn't get pregnant and they did. The baby wants to come through them for whatever reason. Just don't take it too hard. I don't know who that's for, but there's a very big message on that. And I don't think it's for everybody. I think it's like for one or two people, maybe one in particular. But I have a specific message coming through and gotta honor it.
Well, that's it for this week. Nicole, do you want to tell them what you're doing again tonight?
Okay, so tonight at 6 o'clock Mountain Standard, so that's 8 o'clock Eastern and 5 o'clock Pacific. Look on my page, either Gaia Blooming, my professional page, Coaching with Nikki, or my what is it?
Your personal page, Nicole.
I don't know. I'm like, what is going on? I'm going to be pulling some cards for people. I'm going to be doing a couple readings. I'm going to be on there for about an hour and a half. And then I'm going to give away a free reading at the end. I also do reading Mondays. So my prices at this moment are pretty cheap. They're 50% off. And I do that. I'm only going to be doing it for 4 weeks. And I'll have another special if I decide to continue doing these readings this way. I don't know. We'll see. But so if you don't get a reading, you can book one, and I did some readings this week for people, and they're you could do a half an hour for 40 minutes or for $40, and we get a lot done, and it's really great, and you'll be able to get a lot of questions answered. But if you do go on there, you have an opportunity to get a free 10-minute reading. So put your name down on the list, and me and Katie will see who gets it. I always set the intention. Whoever really, really needs it ends up usually getting it.
I was really happy to see a very loyal Gaia commenter, viewer got it. So I was really excited to see that last week.
Yeah, it's really nice. And there's some people that I see comment on my stuff all the time, and they got one, and I was like, yes. Because I always like giving back to people who give back to me,
Absolutely. It's nice to support those who support us for sure.
Yeah.
So that's it for the week, but you can book a reading with me at GaiaBlooming.com. Check out our daily horoscope guidance, always posted on GaiaBlooming.com, and Nicole, or Coaching with Vicky on Instagram, and all the things that she mentioned before. But they're always posted on Gaia Blooming as well. And with that, we will see you next week. Thanks for joining us. Namaste.
Namaste.